Hi. I got thinking recently about all the stuff I wish I had known about sexuality when I was your age. I know some of you are already talking about stuff related to sex and maybe reading things about romantic relationships and maybe seeing it referred to on TV. And most of you also probably don't really even understand exactly what it is. And don't worry, because that's not anything I'm going to explain to you right now, because it's a bit early to have that kind of a discussion actually. But there is a lot of other stuff kind of around sex that before we even get to that part, that I feel would have been handy to have had a clue about when I was younger. So, okay. Sex is something that you're more aware of now, okay? That's a thing, you know. And it probably feels kind of fun and maybe a bit naughty to talk about it. I know that was certainly true for me when I was a kid. I used to horrify my parents and my teachers with my Tarzan and Jane jokes, which were the thing that was going around at the time, and the questions that I would come up with, things that my sister would tell me, trying to be so much cooler than me and teasing me because I didn't know about this stuff, which of course I couldn't possibly have known about. Look, in a way, you are at the very beginning of your very long, very long, years long journey towards discovering your sexuality. Hopefully very many years long. So it's probably a good time to have some sort of discussion about it and give you some kind of framework to put it all together into. All right, so sexuality is actually a much broader topic than just having sex. At this age, it's probably a lot more about how you relate to your body and feel about your body and your boundaries with other people. What feels okay and what doesn't. You really started learning about your sexuality from the time you were born by observing what's happening in your own family. And your developing sexuality will continue to be influenced by the attitudes and the behaviours around you. So some of you are starting to notice that your bodies are developing. And if that's not you yet, that's okay. You know, you will eventually. And then having this information will benefit you. So it's not too early to listen, okay? I do advise with everything actually that you take what resonates for you and you discard anything that doesn't. So anything that doesn't make sense just yet, just tuck it away for later when it might do, okay? Or trust that it'll come back if and when you need it. So, okay, let's start with physical development because that's what's happening right now for you. So, let me tell you that normal includes anywhere from probably 11 to 19, realistically. That's a long time. And it's a process that can span a few years also, from, sprouting your first hairs under your arm to growing breasts and getting your period. And that's for the girls, of course. And for boys, there will be changes also, like, pronounced Adam's apple, the voice will change and deepen. You'll grow facial hair, things like that. So, and they can also happen in any order. All of this is normal. There is no normal. There is no abnormal. It will happen for you when it happens. And span as long a period of time as it takes. Okay. What I noticed through my life was sometimes those who were very early to develop felt a little embarrassed at being the first. And sometimes those lagging behind can eventually feel anxious, like it's never going to happen for me. I was one of those. It is going to happen for all of you, okay? It's inevitable. And like, eye colour and hair type and the shape of your nose, it's not something you've got any say in. How tall you're going to get. It's a tricky time because you're completely at the mercy of your genetics right now. All of the hormones are racing around your bodies. can make it a bit trickier to handle your emotions as well. So any anxiety about where you are in relation to others on this journey can cause some people to act a bit mean to the people in the other camp. But let me tell you that teasing somebody about their physical development is really not acceptable behaviour, okay? You're all going through the same thing. And once you get there, how fast or slow you did it won't mean a thing. So let's not make it mean a thing now. Let's be kind and compassionate to each other about it now, okay? So I remember that high school felt so important. It can feel like the pinnacle of your life, but there is so much beyond high school. I know you feel like a lot of people feel like they have to define themselves in high school, but there is so much beyond high school. Anyone that you feel hasn't caught up to you yet, just wait a little bit, because they will. You're not better or worse than anybody else based on where you're at in high school, based on where you're at with your physical development. Maybe ask your parents about what their high school reunion was like. Beyond high school can be some really surprising and incredible growth and changes, so leave some room for that. Probably my one piece of advice to you is don't spend your time in high school being a jerk, okay? Let's all be human beings together and appreciate all of the things that the people around us bring, okay? Even the things we don't like so much can teach us a lot about other people and about ourselves, so make room for that. And also, people will change. The person you feel you don't like now could become your closest friend in the right circumstances. They could be the person you need to save your life one day or to help you with a tricky situation. Or they may be the only person to stand in your corner when you're going through a rough time. So I hope you'll choose to be kind to yourself and to others at this time. Okay? So I'd like to address gossip and teasing at this point too, because I know that it's been going on. It's pretty damaging behaviour, actually, but I can't tell you how much more damaging it is when sex gets involved, okay? Nothing limits a human being's potential more than shame, and nothing creates more feelings of shame than harmful sexual experiences, okay? Now, at your age, this includes the who likes who stuff and the kissing, because this is loosely the very beginnings of sexual behaviour. Even this can cause some people a lot of distress, okay? Having rumours spread about you feels really awful, whether they're true or not. Not everyone will know the difference. So just don't do it, okay? So from now, and as you continue to grow, your bodies will start changing. The way you look will change, and the way that other people outside of school relate to you will also change. You might notice some people starting to get a lot more attention because of how they look. You may hear or see things that you don't quite understand, and decide to act as if you do in order to be accepted or appear cooler or whatever. You might start talking about things that you don't really have any idea about. You might be influenced by what you hear other adults say and try and emulate them. You might be encouraged to behave in ways that you're really not ready for. All of these are really common things at your age, okay? But let's make one thing very clear now, so that when you get to the age where that is happening, you will know, okay? It is never cool to talk about somebody else having sex, all right? This is not an acceptable topic to gossip about, because unless you're actually present, you can have absolutely no idea whether or not it's even true, okay? And you also have absolutely no idea about the circumstances. Sometimes people get unwanted attention. And in order to cover their tracks, people will make up stories, okay? The thing is, there will be some kids who start having sex really early, as young as you. That's been happening since I was a kid, and probably earlier. And there are also people who sexually abuse children. Hopefully this is nothing you will ever encounter. But being able to know the difference between situations that are okay and ones that aren't could help keep you safe. So I'm covering this material, okay? If anybody is having sex before they're 16, then legally they're not having sex, they are being abused, okay? This is not something to gossip about. This is a child who probably needs to feel that somebody cares about them, really. When teens do start having sex very early, it's quite likely that they were groomed to accept and maybe even like what was happening to them long before they ever really understood what was going on and what they were doing. It can be very similar with things like drugs and stealing, you know. Once you're drawn into these kinds of behaviour, it can be hard to stop. Even though when you began, you didn't really know what was going on, you want to be accepted, you kind of go along with things, then before you know it, oh, well, I'm already doing this now. It can be really tricky with nobody to advise you. If you feel you're the only one, you can get pulled further into these sort of things. You know, and people who do engage in these behaviours early on may then try and convince others that it's really cool, that they're enjoying it more than they are, so that they won't be the odd ones out anymore. They'll have someone else they know going through the same stuff. I'm hoping that being able to recognise situations that are harmful will keep you from experiencing them. So that's as much as that is. If you're aware that's there, okay, put it on a shelf until later, and hopefully if you're ever in need of that information, it will be there for you. So making things up about people is never okay, especially when it comes to sex and drugs, because this is really serious stuff. But even things like kissing or dating, you know, it can still cause harm. I know you can't understand why yet, but it will become obvious as you get older. You never know what someone else has been through in their life. So spreading stories is just a much bigger topic than you realise now, okay? Just don't do it. And also call this kind of behaviour out. Tell the people that you hear gossiping or spreading rumours or making things up that it's not okay, or teasing. You know, don't tear other people down. Find a better hobby, frankly. As a professional who deals with adults who've been damaged by these kinds of things, I can tell you that how you behave in high school can have a really lasting impact. One more thing worth knowing when you get to high school is that most kids in high school lie about their sexual experiences, maybe to be more accepted or to be cool, to appear cool, and sometimes just to be nasty. And that can create pressure for somebody else to become sexually active way before they're ready. It can push people into situations that they're not ready for, or that can expose them to harm. You know, same sort of thing as I mentioned before with drugs and crime. Children who do begin sexual behaviours very early are very often doing so as a result of some early trauma or abuse of some kind. And they may not remember or acknowledge it, but it is one of the most common reasons. So this isn't something to either aspire to or to make fun of, okay? If we think everyone else is doing something, then we can feel a lot more pressure to do it too, in order to be accepted. It's worth remembering that not everybody is truthful, and they may just be trying to coerce you into doing something they want you to do. How about if as you grow up in your sexual behaviour, it was a private thing and it was no one else's business? How about if all people's choices were just okay, just choices? And how about if the best time to have sex or even to kiss somebody or date was when you are ready? And just like it doesn't matter when you started riding a bicycle or started using a computer once you're proficient in it, once you're an adult, it really won't matter when you hit puberty or when you started having sex, as long as nobody makes it into a negative thing. That can be a problem. Right, there's a bit of resources for your parents who may be watching this. Watching the TV series Puberty Blues starring Claudia Carvan could be a really great resource for you. It's very gritty and realistic commentary in there of what can go on in high school. You might even recognise from your own years. I don't suggest this for the kids to watch, but as parents it may just arm you with a bit of knowledge to pick up some red flags during those years for your own kids. Particularly pay close attention to the story of Cheryl, the very sexually active student. I saw very many red flags for the likely reason behind her behaviour quite early on. So you may find that enlightening too. Okay, so back to kids. Sexualised attention. Right, some of the girls who are already developing breasts might notice they're starting to attract a bit more attention. If this attention ever makes you feel uncomfortable, then I'd like to suggest a couple of strategies to help you feel safe and to manage the situation, okay? And this is not just the girls. Boys can also find themselves facing unwanted attention, attention that doesn't feel good. So firstly, I advise calling this behaviour out if you're in public with other people when it's happening, okay? Because then you've got witnesses. So just saying something as simple as, are you staring at my breasts? Because that kind of feels weird. It's just a statement of observation without any emotional charge on it, without any accusation. This will usually stop the behaviour because it's been witnessed, brought out, not made a big deal of. They won't want to be caught doing that again. It also alerts others that it is happening in case it continues, okay? You'll have an ally. Secondly, tell a teacher or a trusted person, a trusted adult person, as soon as you can. Say if there isn't anyone else around when it's happening, go get some help. Let them know exactly what happened and how you felt, and let them assess the situation with you. Not for you, but with you. Your voice here is important. Your safety is really a lot more important than any adult's temporary embarrassment. Okay, it may well be nothing, but if there is ever more to it, you'll have someone on your side to take further action with you. If it didn't feel okay for you, then it's important to acknowledge that, okay? Abusive situations occur because people keep secrets. So, don't get into a habit of thinking, oh, I don't matter, it's fine, I don't want to cause a fuss. You do matter. And sometimes a fuss needs to be made if it's appropriate. However, don't make things up, okay? Don't do it to be nasty to an adult that you don't like. This is serious, okay? Very serious. It's not a weapon. Making things up can cause needless harm to other people, either because they act on what you say or because it later causes doubt for some other situation where something really has happened. You can't possibly know the results of your actions if you make stuff like this up. It's just one of those important, serious things that you do not lie or exaggerate about. Please remember that, okay? It's just so important. Okay, and at this point, let's acknowledge that there are tricky adults, okay? It's a much more helpful concept than the old stranger danger that we had when we were kids. A woman called Patty Fitzgerald created the tricky people concept. And she says that most strangers are not dangerous. Statistically, if someone wants to harm a child, they're not going to appear scary. They're going to be friendly and charming and have an enticing offer, and seem really friendly. Again, I've included a link in the written part down below for your parents to click if they want to look further into that resource. It's a great thing to have a further talk with you about if you've got more questions. So a tricky adult might ask you to do something that doesn't sound right, or get you to break one of your family's safety rules. Generally, there are 3 things that a trusted adult will never do, okay? First, ask a child for help. Usually they'll ask another adult, unless they're one of your teachers and they're asking you to do normal class stuff. Politely let them know that you can't help them and suggest that they find another adult because you're just a kid, okay? 2, ask you to keep a secret, okay? Especially from your parents or your teachers. If anyone does, then you should absolutely tell an adult about it, one that you trust. They'll be able to tell you what to do about it, okay? And 3, ask you to break a safety rule, encourage you to go against your parents' instructions or your own intuition. So check in with your gut. If what's something somebody's asking you to do doesn't feel right, then don't do it, okay? Make an excuse and get away from them. And tell somebody that you trust what happened, okay? Tricky people sometimes use something called grooming to get you to do what they want. This is sort of persistent behaviour that just sort of intended to wear down your sense of unease or discomfort about something, or your instincts that this is wrong. You know, if you notice that anyone is doing this, then, you know, they're not letting up. They're just trying everything they can to get you to do something, and you know it doesn't feel right, then please tell somebody, and try not to be alone with that person. Okay, a trusted adult will listen to what's going on, and they'll help you to be safe. So there was a recent news article about a children's movie called Show Dogs, I believe, that had themes of grooming in it. So again, parents, I've included a link so you can have a read about it and have a more detailed discussion with your kids later if that feels right for you. So okay, let's come back to sexual behaviour and you guys. I know that that's a very long way off. It better be a long way off for you. But look, one day it will very naturally be something that you do when you grow to adulthood. And there's some things I'd like you to know. So firstly, no matter what it is, flirting or kissing or touching or actually having sex one day, it's supposed to be pleasurable, okay? It's supposed to be mutual, enjoyable and consensual, okay? If it's not, you shouldn't be doing it, no matter what it is, okay? It shouldn't hurt or be uncomfortable or make you feel bad. It's supposed to be the opposite of that. So you shouldn't be doing it to be liked or accepted, to get a job, to keep a girlfriend or a boyfriend, to get back at somebody else, if you feel pressured, or even if it just doesn't feel right. Okay, you should only ever do anything because you want to and you're enjoying how things are going. Okay, as soon as it stops feeling good, you need to stop. Okay, it's okay to stop, no matter what. Okay, it's just like bullying. You know, when you're out in the playground, you know that when you're playing with your friends, as long as everybody's having a good time, it's fine. But as soon as someone isn't enjoying it anymore, the game has to stop, okay? You have to stop. It becomes bullying. And sexual behaviour is like that too. Flirting takes 2 people to be engaged in the process. Both need to be enjoying what's going on between them. If one of them isn't, then you need to stop. It becomes harassment. So, you know, even if you really like someone, it's not okay to keep trying to get them to like you back. If someone tells you no, then you need to leave them alone and move on. Yeah, it's as simple as that. Some people won't be ready yet. You need to accept that and move on. Okay? As your bodies begin to develop more, both boys and girls will find other people taking more of an interest in them, okay, in a more adult way. So whether the attention is comes from slightly older kids or from adults, you might feel some pressure to engage in sexualized behavior of some kind, okay? Know that you always have a voice. You can always say no, even if it felt good to start with. If it stops feeling okay, then it's all right to stop, Okay, you always should have a voice, whether it's playing truth or dare, talking about kissing or having a crush, or it's something else as you get older. Don't buy into comparing yourself to what you think other people are doing, or what you think other people are doing, because remember that most kids in high school lie about their experiences for one reason or another. And please don't gossip about each other, or spread nasty rumours, okay? It doesn't matter if somebody likes boys or girls or both or neither, you know, or just let people be how they are. If you do want to know about somebody else, ask them directly, okay? And leave them alone if they don't want to tell you. Don't just believe what someone else said about them. And really, as you grow up, it really isn't anyone else's business what you do or you don't do. You'll all be ready for different things at different times, and that's completely okay. I hope that you'll all have fun in the years ahead exploring what's right for you and get to have really safe and enjoyable experiences the whole way along. All children should be safe and cherished. So treat your bodies with kindness and respect. They really are the most amazing things. Enjoy getting to know yours. Find out what you like before you share it with somebody else. Appreciate it for exactly how it is, because it really is nothing short of a marvel. I've been working with bodies for more than 15 years and they're amazing. And there are so many different kinds of beauty. Learn to find it in everyone, including yourself. Maybe even starting with yourself. So thanks for listening, and I really hope you got something positive from this. Okay, stay safe and take care. Bye.